You're waiting for a feeling that doesn't come. You call it motivation. It's not motivation. It's permission. You've convinced yourself that action requires a certain internal state, energy, clarity, drive. So you wait for that state to arrive. It doesn't. And while you wait, someone else with the same goal and less talent is already moving. Not because they feel better, because they started tired. You believe motivation precedes action. It doesn't. Action precedes motivation. The sequence is backwards in your head. You think you need to feel like running before you run. You think you need to feel like writing before you write. But the runner feels like running at mile 2, not mile 0. The writer feels like writing on page 3, not at the blank screen. The feeling comes from motion, not before it. Your brain lies about the order. It tells you to wait until you're ready, but readiness is a mirage. There's always another reason to delay. Not enough sleep, not the right time, too much on your mind. These aren't reasons, they're symptoms of a system addicted to comfort. Your brain wants you comfortable. It doesn't want you effective. Effective requires discomfort. So it invents reasons to stay still. When you plan, your brain rewards you like you've already succeeded. It releases dopamine, the same chemical it gives when you actually accomplish something. Except you didn't. You just imagined it. You outlined the steps, visualized the outcome, and your brain logged it as done. You feel productive. You did nothing. That's why you can spend hours organizing your desk and never start the work. Why you can buy running shoes, download the tracker, and still never run. Preparation feels like progress. It's not progress. It's procrastination displaced as aesthetics. You're perfecting the conditions instead of acting. The conditions are never perfect. You start anyway, or you don't start. The solution isn't emotional, it's mechanical. You pick one task, singular, not 3, not 5, 1. The task that matters most to the result you say you want. Then you assign it a time, the same time, every day. Not when you feel like it, not when your schedule allows. The same hour. You show up at that hour and you execute the task. Regardless of mood, regardless of readiness, regardless of everything. This is not a suggestion, it's the method. The task happens at the designated time. If you're tired, you do it tired. If you're distracted, you do it distracted. If you're unmotivated, you do it unmotivated. The quality of the feeling is irrelevant. The fact of the action is everything. You're not trying to do it well. You're trying to do it consistently. Quality is born from repetition. Repetition is born from showing up. The time matters because it kills negotiation. Every decision costs energy. Every morning you ask if today's the day. You bleed energy before you even start. The decision was already made. It happens at 10, or 6, or noon. The clock decides. You move. That's how you bypass the internal debate. There's nothing to discuss. The time arrived. You act. You'll resist this. You'll say some days are different, that you're too tired, too stressed, too busy. You're right, some days are different. You do it anyway. Not because you're a machine, because you're building a pattern stronger than your excuses. The pattern doesn't care how you feel. The time comes, you act. That's the only way it becomes automatic. Automaticity is the goal, not motivation. Motivation is weather. Some days it shows up, most days it doesn't. You don't wait for good weather to go to work. You go to work, and then you handle the weather. Same principle. You don't wait for motivation to do the task. You do the task. Then motivation arrives, or it doesn't. Either way, the task is done. Discipline isn't willpower. Willpower burns out. Discipline is reduction. You reduce variables. You reduce decisions. You reduce the distance between the trigger and the action. The trigger is the time. The action is the task. Nothing in between. No emotional check-in. No evaluation. The clock hits the hour. You're already moving. This is what separates finishers from dreamers. The finisher has a system that doesn't require feeling good. The dreamer depends on conditions that never align. The finisher normalizes discomfort. They don't wait for it to feel right. They accept that it will feel wrong, and they move anyway. You pick the task today, not tomorrow. The task that moves the needle. The one you've been avoiding because it's hard or boring or both. Then you pick the time. The hour you can defend. Not hope for. Defend. The hour that exists every day. Early morning, late night, lunch. Doesn't matter. What matters is that it's the same hour, every day. No exceptions. Then you protect that hour like it's a meeting you can't miss. Because it is. It's a meeting with the version of yourself that executes, not the one that plans, not the one that intends, the one that does. You show up, you do the task. 30 minutes, 20, 15 if that's all it takes. Duration matters less than consistency. You're building a reflex. The reflex is simple. Time arrives, body moves. By the first week something changes. The task gets easier. Not because you're more motivated, but because your brain stops fighting. It learns the time means action. It stops generating excuses. It saves the energy. This is neural efficiency. Your brain realizing that resistance is wasted fuel. It automates the behavior. You stop deciding. You start doing. Then something else happens. The motivation shows up after. You finish the task and you feel capable. You feel momentum. That's the feeling you were waiting for at the start. It doesn't exist at the start. It's produced by the act. You are trying to summon it from nothing. You can't. It's a consequence. You do the thing creates the feeling, not the other way around. Your entire relationship with action flips. You stop waiting for permission. You stop asking for the right mood. You stop negotiating with imaginary conditions. You move first, then you feel later. You're not motivated to write. You write, then you're motivated. You're not energized to train. You train, then you're energized. Action is the input. Motivation is the output. You've been running it backwards. Most people fail because they try to scale too fast. They pick 5 tasks. They scatter their times. They make exceptions. They negotiate. This is why they fail. You're not optimizing your whole life. You're proving to yourself you can do one thing at one time no matter how you feel. That's it. One task, 1 hour, every day, for 30 days. Then, and only then, you add more. The task doesn't need to be large, it needs to be defended. If the task is writing, it's not a chapter, it's 15 minutes. If it's running, it's not 5 miles, it's 10 minutes. The size is irrelevant, the consistency is everything. You're not building the outcome yet, you're building the behavior. The behavior builds the outcome later. When you miss a day, you start again, not from 0, from day 1. The streak is the mechanism. Break the mechanism, rebuild it. No guilt, no story, just the fact. You missed, you restart. That's the difference between the one who finishes and the one who fantasizes. The finisher removed negotiation. The clock strikes, they move. The fantasizer is still waiting for the right day, the right mood, the right weather. There is no right day, there is only today. And today has the same hour as yesterday. You show up or you don't. You were taught that motivation is the fuel. It's not. Action is the fuel. Motivation is the exhaust. You act, then you feel motivated to act again. That's the loop. But you have to start it. You start it by moving when you don't want to, by doing it tired, by doing it distracted, by doing it anyway. That's not discipline. That's deciding that time matters more than feeling. Pick the task, pick the time, show up, do it tired.